Hello, wide angle view. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. My name is Hannah if you're new here, and we're doing some spring cleaning today. It's a gorgeous spring day. Sun is out. It is a little chilly, but I am desperate to clean up my bookshelves. I kind of get this way every spring. I just need a refresh. I want to rearrange things. I want to go through and maybe do a book haul eventually and get rid of some books, make room for new shiny books. And today is the day I'm going to start this process. I don't know if I'm going to finish today, but we are going to start. So I am going to, I guess, first things first, give you a tour of where we are and all of my bookshelves. So behind me, you've got these tall ones with books stacked on top, and I am also looking at two shelves over here that are half shelves. They're not as tall, full of more books, mostly young adults, but we've got some adult shelves as well as my trade paperback collection. So let me show you around. Up top on these tall shelves is my manga, graphic novel, comic book collection. It's not the biggest, but some of my childhood favorites and some other fun things up there. Coming up here is adult fantasy in general, sort of arranged by height. Going down, this is one of my favorite author shelves. You see these in my video all the time, but this is Sylvia Marin Garcia, Sarah Gailey, N.K. Jemisin, and then there are two books by Alexander Rowland on there. Moving down is more adult fantasy. Again, ordered by descending height. And then we kind of have a half empty shelf, which is more adult fantasy. This whole shelf is basically adult fantasy, but most of these are like T. Kingfisher, cozy fantasy, and we have a dog. Hello. Are you interrupting my filming? Yes, you are. Yes, this is Tetra. So we have some fantasy romance over there, as well as cozy fantasy. Don't mind the tail. Down at, okay. Down at the bottom, again, more fantasy, but these are all written by men, and they all happen to be the exact same height, which is nice. Tetra, your butt is in the way. Moving over and up, this is my romance shelf, which is an absolute mess. I really don't like how full this is. I keep reading more romance, finding romance favorites, which is not a bad thing, but I only have one shelf for romance at the moment, so this needs to be fixed. This is my queer rainbow shelf. This is mostly contemporary romance with some sci-fi as well, organized in a rainbow. I really like having one rainbow shelf because it's cute, but I couldn't do my whole collection this way, just one little shelf. Sci-fi down here, again, you see these two shelves in my videos, so I won't spend too long here. Moving way down, we have another half empty shelf. This is sci-fi, and then this stack here is poetry. And then down, we have classics, classic fantasy, classics in general, and then we have mystery, thriller, horror novels down here. That's over, the Last Tale of the Frog Bride should be over there. Okay, spinning around, we have BAM! Up top here is my my mass market paperback collection. I even have bookends for them, which is super cute. Over here we have more adult fantasy. See how it's kind of broken up? I don't really like that very much. And then down is more Brandon Sanderson adult fantasy. But if we zoom out a little bit, you can see all of my young adult books are stacked on top of each other like this. And this was a safe space saving measure that I did, and it's just, yes, it saves a lot of space because I can literally stuff these shelves, but I don't like it. It's not bringing me joy. So I would rather, I don't mind like one stack That's Hiccup, by the way. I don't mind like one stack, you know, for aesthetics, but this is just too much. This is too economical. I want something different. I'm not happy with this. And then down here on this little cart, those behind there are books that I want to get rid of, and then a very small TBR. So I have these 2 books and this little stack of TBR books. So I actually don't own a large physical TBR. So you know how it is. First things first, I think I'm going to go through every single shelf individually and pull off books that I want to unhaul. Second step is taking everything off the shelves. Third is wiping the shelves down, dusting, and then putting things back, reorganizing. So let's, I guess, here we go. Empty tall shelves minus the very, very tippy top, and then we've got the short shelves. I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna clean these shelves and reorganize these tall ones, because I want to put some of the books from the short shelves over there on here. So I think I'm gonna get a cloth, we're gonna clean, we're gonna take care of Hiccup, who wants to go potty. But yeah, I think we're gonna do these tall ones first, get these situated how I want, and then we're gonna go over there. I also hope to get you guys in a little bit closer to see the books actually going back onto the shelves in whatever order I decide. So we're gonna try some things out with the filming of this too. So keep watching. after much waffling and being indecisive and shifting things around and around and around and around, I think I'm at a stopping spot. I'm at a stopping point. I think I've done the tall shelves. Okay, wide view. So the shelves are organized by genre, with the exception of the rainbow shelf, but we'll get to that. This is what they look like, obviously with a little bit of room to spare. Let's talk about this top shelf. So this top shelf is my manga, graphic novel, comic book collection is still up here, but I've also squeezed a significant number of romances up here. The reason I put a fairly large portion of my romance collection up here is because this whole stack, this stack right here, are all romances by publishers that we are boycotting or have been previously boycotted. And so just to make my stance clear, I'm not putting them in my videos anymore. I'm also not necessarily focusing on romance this year. I love romance. I will continue to read romance, but I'm just being more discerning with what I pick up. So we're not focusing on romance this year. We're focusing on sci-fi and fantasy and horror and other genres. So that's why I'm sticking some romance up here, and also just to make sure that the boycotted publishers are not in my videos anymore. Working our way down, this is epic fantasy. For the most part, there are very few exceptions, but this entire shelf is epic high fantasy, which is my preference. I'll give you a good look. They're mostly ordered by height of book. We also have a couple of stragglers. Clearly I need to buy third books in series. I need to get the hardcover of the Kingdom of, or the Empire of Gold. I need the third book in the Helm of Midnight series, and I also need the third book of the Rebecca Roanhorse series, so I need to finish out my collection of these. But with few exceptions, this is mostly epic high fantasy. Then moving down, again, epic high fantasy, ordered by height. Again, I'm missing Jade City because I lent it to my sibling, but that will go there if there's room. If not, I have a plan. And then, so in my videos, you will see these two shelves. I really kind of wanted to display my John Gwynne and Richard Swan books in my videos, because those I've been really into those books lately and those authors. And then Seth Dickinson as well. I really like the Trader Baru Cormorant series, eagerly anticipating the fourth and final book in that. But these are the two that you will see behind me. And then working our way down, again, more epic high fantasy. I used to break up my books by gender of the author, and I've stopped doing that. There's no point doing that anymore. I don't have enough shelf space, and it's just something I don't need to be doing anymore. So we have a little bit of epic high fantasy, a lot of Robert Jackson Bennett, a couple of N.K. Jemisons. I did end up splitting N.K. Jemisin up because these two books are like, I don't know, 2 inches taller than her other ones. So those are over here. And then working our way down is the Brandon Sanderson shelf. Of course, he needs a whole shelf. Behind is the Ars Arcanum, which is his short story and novella collection. And the only reason it's back there is because it doesn't fit on the shelf. Like, he has too many books. So that was my compromise. But if he continues to publish, which is his plan, I'm gonna have to figure out something else. All right, let's go back up to the top and right. So this shelf, I'm really excited about. This is something I've never done before. This is a cozy fantasy / fantasy romance shelf. I'm really excited about it. I really have gotten into a couple of romantasy books, not a ton, but I've really gotten into T. Kingfisher, and I like the Olivia Atwaters. But yeah, I kind of combine them. So that means some of these books are horror books. These two are horror books, but I wanted to keep T. Kingfisher kind of consolidated. So I just ended up putting her here, even though a couple of these books don't quite fit into the cozy or romantasy categories. But that's what this looks like. And then here, for the first time ever on my channel, I have a full mystery thriller horror shelf. So you will actually see these in my videos. So this is one of those shelves you'll see behind me, and I'm excited about it. My dogs are barking, so apologies. So I did split up Sylvia Moreno Garcia and Sarah Gailey. They have books in the fantasy and horror categories, so I put a couple of Sarah Gailey's and Sylvia Moreno Garcia's books up here. And there is a Sylvia Moreno Garcia up here in the fantasy romance section. But I wanted a full mystery thriller horror shelf because that is a primary focus of my reading for the year. I really want to read more. I just read Vera Wong and it was fabulous. I gave it 5 stars. So yeah, I'm really excited about this shelf. I like how it turned out. Again, ordered by Height. And then bam, the rainbow shelf is back. I toyed with the idea of disassembling this, but I don't care. It makes me happy, so I'm keeping it. And it's pretty much unchanged from how it was in the beginning. I just moved it down one, and it used to be up here. It used to be this shelf, and now it is down here. And this is a mix of contemporary romances, well, and then one historical romance and sci-fi that feature queer characters and or the author is queer. Talia Hibbert is queer, so all of her books are queer. And so I wanted some romance on my shelves represented because I am still reading some romances, but not as voraciously as I used to. And again, with sci-fi being one of the genres I wanted to focus on, I didn't mind having a blended shelf. And I just think the rainbow is so cute. Having a limited rainbow palette really works for me. And then, of course, moving down is more sci-fi. This shelf is very similar to how it used to look, but with the addition of the Martian contingency, and I flipped the order. So it used to be shortest to tallest, now it is tallest to shortest, if that makes sense. So this is all sci-fi, and then down here is my leftover shelf. We have basically sci-fi hardcovers, as well as a few sci-fi paperbacks. That poetry collection I mentioned earlier, and then this is some classics and my one historical fiction. I don't read historical fiction. Hamnet is an exception. It is an all-time favorite. I love this book deeply, but it doesn't really fit in with any of my other genres, so I stuck it with the classic fiction section. So very small section there. But those are these tall shelves all done. All right, with that, I'm happy with the YA shelves. We just flip them back to stand upright, and here are the mass market paperbacks. But I am happy with that. These are mostly young adult fantasy with a few YA sci-fi in there. And yeah, now I'm freaking exhausted. All right, it is the next day. The only thing I changed between yesterday and today was I flipped the rainbow shelf and the mystery thriller horror shelf, just because this, half of the shelf is covered up by my shoulder, and so you really couldn't get the full effect of the rainbow. So I still wanted to showcase the rainbow a little bit more, but horror and mystery and thriller is down here now, and to my right is epic fantasy. So I really think this layout for my background for my videos works. It really showcases my current reading tastes: epic, high fantasy, long-standing series, deep world building, and romance and sci-fi that's gay. And then mostly horror, but an occasional thriller or mystery as well. So these are the main genres that I read. The only one that isn't showcased is the occasional nonfiction, but those are in a completely separate area of my house. Oh boy, this was a lot of work, but I love doing this every spring. It just brings me so much joy, and I love looking at my new shelves, and my dog is barking. So with that, I think I'm gonna go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in another video of mine very soon. Bye.